mean, like, I don't want to start out the episode on like a downer, but it's kind of like we just came off that episode, so like it's kind of heavy.
It's super heavy.
We'll get to all of that. Yeah, super.
I'm trying to process it all still, actually.
Yeah, like I don't like. I think I can't really like get into our normal joking around, and even like the joking, all the jokes that I had like the first half of the episode that you and I were texting about. And I was like, let's save it for the show. We need something for the show. Like I don't even remember what that was about, and that feels so like I feel like, okay, let's talk about all the the whole thing. But y'all, this episode was really heavy. Just FYI, trigger warning. I don't think that I did not see a warning at the beginning of this episode, and I really feel like there should have been one, to be honest, because like I don't get triggered by very much, but I was like, it was a triggery. There was a lot of triggery talk for me in there. Yeah. As I suspect there was for a lot, because there was very many layers. It's the trigger warning for sexual assault, raging alcoholism,
inappropriateness in general.
Yeah, I mean, like there's just so much that was wrong with everybody. Well, so many behaviors. Luke and Laura behave, both Luke and Laura's behaviors. So many things wrong, and then there was other stuff too that I felt, but the just like the
well, I just kept thinking it was gonna maybe take a turn for the better, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I was like, I can't get any worse. Nope, there it goes. It got worse. I couldn't believe it. I'm actually
at the end of the episode, I was actually horrified. I was literally sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
Like got better when Jason fired Laura. Sorry, spoiler alert, Luke and Laura both get fired.
Yeah.
But like there were so many layers, not just what Luke did, requiring producers to pull him off before anything further could have happened. But then like the processing of the talking and afterwards, there was a lot of women should be allowed to be drunk. That was triggering to me. That conversation kind of triggered me. And then there was the other conversation, with the Laura comments, and that was a whole nother layer. Just when you think there couldn't be another layer, there was. So there's a lot going on in this episode, you guys. And I don't know if that I can bring up the lightheartedness that we usually have. I mean, we'll of course try to do justice to the episode in every way that is. We don't want this to be a complete downer episode, but just given the weight that I feel like it needs.
Honestly. Yeah. I mean, I saw Luke for who he was a while ago, and so did you. And we made comments because he was saying inappropriate things early on that were just questionable as a sober man doing an interview. Like, what did he say? Something about like, oh, I know she wants it, about like kissing her. Remember when he kissed her without consent?
Oh. Yeah,
and he was like, oh, well, like basically saying she wanted it. Like,
did we call it that night that
I called it that night? I know that. Yeah, I was like,
we call him a date raper. Yeah,
something like that. And it didn't sit well with me. And in hindsight, looking back on it, they record those interviews after their season is shot, or most of the way through. So for him to even make that kind of joke in production off screen after being fired for what he did was so tasteless and just awful that I'm shocked he said anything at all.
Like, it didn't even occur to me because, and I mean, I look at things like that. I know things like that, right? Like I know they record those after, but I guess I didn't think about that with all the rest of the sort of horrifyingness of this, that there was another level of horrifying to him. Honestly, I didn't care enough to look to see if there was another layer of horribleness. It was like, this is what happened. And then the next day when he was trying to, we're jumping ahead. We should just start. Let's tell it in order so we're not like whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get to all of it, but just trigger warning, sexual assault, drunken, non-consent, a lot of that issues around that. So just be warned, if that's something that might trigger you, or you know, even questionable, don't listen to us. It's fine. It's fine. Turn us on next week and instead. Okay. All right.
So now, and again, in hindsight, looking back, the title for this episode makes a lot of sense. We're talking about season 2, episode 6, All Wrong, which sums up pretty much the entire episode.
And
so
also,
we have
this was
2 hour.
Yes, this is a 2-hour episode. Instead of 2 1-hour episodes, they did 1 2-hour episode, and now we understand why, because of the way they played this storyline out.
Right, because we were talking about, like, why is there 1 2-hour episode? Well, yeah.
Because you wouldn't have been able to split this up, and it wouldn't have been appropriate. I think they made an excellent call on that. And but yeah. So that's why it's 1 episode. Extra long.
We see previously Luke being a fuckboy, Laura telling Aisha how to do her job, Chef Zarina cooking meat for the guests who don't eat meat, and last minute having to change the main course for some of the guests. So that's how the episode starts off. Zarina's like in the kitchen trying to figure out, what am I going to cook for these guests that don't eat meat that I accidentally made meat for? So she did end up making fish, which looked delicious. And the guests seemed very happy. One guest needed a steak cooked a little bit more per his preference sheet. But overall, they were happy. So that was good. Did you see the one guest shoving the other one into his face into the cake that Zarina made next to the knife?
Oh my god! And then they showed the montage of her like spending all day on the thing.
I was just looking at the knife next to his head. I was like, oh my god, that was a big knife.
And then like when the crew was like eating the cake in the back later, they were like, "Ew, there's a hair there."
Yeah, really? I wonder why.
Guy got his face shoved into it.
So the next morning, we see Zarina making a lot of different breakfast platters because each of the guests have different wants and different things on their preference sheet. Captain Jason is checking the weather, and he realizes that it's a good decision to bring the boat back in before they hit like a major storm, which we had tonight here in the DC area.
Yes, we did. We weren't even sure that we were going to be able to record because there was a question if one or the both of us was going to be with or without power for either watching the show or recording the show. We didn't know, so we're just going to like see what happens.
We were going to wing it, and here we are.
And here we are. Okay.
Yep. So we see Aisha and Laura talking about lime juice again. It seems to be a recurring theme.
Because I mean, in hindsight, this seems so trivial of Laura's, on the list of Laura's sins against her. I mean, that she committed against herself, not sins committed against her. No, of Laura's sins. Like it seems minor in comparison, but her constant need to like revisit this lime juice debate just to continually like prove to Aisha that she's right about the lime juice.
Yeah.
And then there's the great lime juice shortage of whatever 2022, when they're running out of limes, and Aisha's like, fucking don't use the actual limes.
Aisha's like, what, does she have stock in limes? Does she own a lime? Whatever. Oh my god,
that was funny. That was really funny.
Yeah, Aisha's so cute.
Yes.
And just awesome. So, all right, then we see the co-primary discussing with Zarina the traditional food that she wants made in honor of her, I guess, mother-in-law, the primary guest's mom. They were doing a memorial dinner and service, and they wanted it to be Cuban food. And I saw Zarina in the kitchen on Google trying to look up recipes. I was like, doesn't she have like a colleague that specializes in Cuban food? She's got to know, like, I don't know, anyone maybe.
Well, when they were doing the preference sheet meeting, she even said that, like, she even said that she I'd never done Cuban food, and she was just Google's gonna be her friend. And I mean, I admire that, but I feel like there should be some other at least frame of reference besides like I could go to Google. No, but no, mine would not turn out nearly at all, even in the same category of food as hers. But still, like I feel like there's gotta be like some happy medium between going to Google and like living embedded in
right.
as far as
it made her seem very much like more relatable to me. I was like, oh, look at that, a trained chef is looking on Google to cook. Let me look to see how to heat up these chicken nuggets for Kaya.
You don't give her chicken.
I know, I don't give her, well, not at the house, but yeah, I made her it doesn't matter, vegan nuggets tonight, but anyhow, I'm like, she's a human
because
being.
She likes sadness. And
have you had the Impossible chicken nuggets?
No, because I like happiness in my life.
You should try it. It tastes like real meat.
In a full spectrum of human emotion.
It tastes like meat.
I mean, I'm not against meat substitutes. I've definitely had them before, and so I like certain ones, and some I like better than others. We have a meatless pork in our pork patties in our freezer right now because Hetero Life Mate likes them in his breakfast sandwiches. Ooh. When he's trying to eat healthy, that's what he does instead of like even like a turkey patty or something. He'll do that, and he likes it. So that's what we get. Like I know I don't have like as a like on a fundamental level, I'm not anti fake meats, but that like the idea of fake chicken nuggets to me is just like a bridge I don't need to cross. You know what I mean? Like
I'd bring some for you tomorrow when I see you, but I ate them all, so just for you to try one. Sorry.
So sad. No vegan chicken nuggets for me.
Hey, we all know it's probably terrible for you, the Impossible stuff. It's probably, we know it's all.
They're engineering meat in labs now.
Yeah.
Like, would you eat that?
No, because that's based off of animal cells. Not Impossible Foods, but the new lab-grown meat that they're growing comes from animals.
But you're not vegan anymore. You're just.
But I don't eat meat. I don't eat animals. I eat fish.
Oh.
So I wouldn't eat I don't eat gelatin or anything.
Right. Yeah. Because you like your life to be devoid of any kind of flavor.
Sadness is my happiness. I'm just
kidding, you guys. Don't the vegans, all three of you, to come at me. Come on now. All right. Anyway.
Anyway, back to here. So, of course, she realizes she needs more chicken, so she has to call the provisioner. But they're out at sea and a storm is coming. So the provisioner says, hey, I can only deliver to you when you're at the dock. So that's going to be around like 5 or 6, I guess, at night when Captain Jason arrives. And the dinner's at like 8?
Yeah, so it puts her in this like time crunch, right? So she's like, okay, well, first of all, why didn't she order enough chicken? Did she not know? See, like this was what I was texting you. I don't know that she's necessarily like cut out for this job. Like I feel like she doesn't quite have the stuff to like, you know what I mean? Like her food seems amazing, but like some of the other things that you need to survive, like
experience. She doesn't have a lot of I feel like an experienced person would have known, hey, I need to do this and this in advance.
Right. And all of those kinds of things. And she doesn't have plan Bs, and then this, and then, and it feels like there's a lot of what I would probably term as amateur mistakes. Because it's not like she's like being a Leon or that other douchebag where he just not doing things because he didn't want to. She's not, things aren't getting done because she didn't know what she didn't know, and not for her lack of trying. So she's really trying. She's really, really like wanting to do a really good job. So I don't class her in those other categories, but like she seems like she doesn't have the experience to do this. I mean, but I love her so much that I'm hoping like she pulls it all off.
Maybe she's doing it all on purpose and she's a genius. She's actually screwing up so Captain Jason will spend more time in the galley with her. I mean, I sacrificed my career to spend more time with Captain Jason. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I would not at all.
You would not in a heartbeat, and even in any shape of
no, I wouldn't sacrifice anything about myself for any man. But I'm saying he is spending more time in the galley with her. Just
right.
Just noticing that. Well, the deck crew actually docks the boat and does a good job.
So it's like dark, it's nighttime, it's storming outside, and this fucking ugly ass quote unquote yacht they're on looks like I'm watching an episode of The Deadliest Catches. They're docking this boat. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I mean, I've never really seen that show, but I can imagine.
It doesn't look like a fancy motor yacht docking. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, carry on.
Well, the provisioner says that the provisions have arrived. She has 50 minutes to make the chicken, which is crazy to me because we know chicken can take a long time to cook depending on how thick.
Yeah, because she was doing the math calculations earlier when she was on the phone with the provisioner, right? So like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, like if I can't get the chicken started until then can I still do it? And she was like, yeah, I'll be able to, but it'll be tight. So
right. And I'll be honest, I was looking at it, the food she was cooking, and I said to myself, this is not going to be good.
No, this is when I was texting you. She's not cut out for this. Shappy's not cut out for this. And then I didn't want to tell you that she pulled it off because I was ahead of you.
Right.
I didn't want to spoil it for you, so I had to wait till you got caught up, and then I went back and anyway, the machinations of us texting while we're live watching, but 20 minutes off from each other.
Yep. Well, the primary loved the dish, so that's good.
Yes.
I typed Laura is trying to flirt with Adam again, which I feel like is a recurring theme. So I'm just gonna say it now, and maybe I'll say it again. But it was the entire episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when there's flirting, and then there's what Laura was doing.
Yes.
Which is like up until the point where producers had to like pull her off of his bunk, like. It was really uncomfortable and cringy, like, but more like it was like uncomfortable for her. I felt like Adam was handling himself right up until he agreed to the massage, but doesn't matter. It doesn't make what she's doing okay. But he's sitting there going, I don't know what else to do. Well, how about say fucking no to the massage if you don't know what else to do? But that seems like such a small aside in the bigger picture of how she was behaving. But her behavior was getting increasingly more and more physical. I mean, and it was definitely the definition of sexual assault for sure, 100%, regardless of what his actions were. Because she was touching him sexually without consent, and that's sexual assault.
And she was not getting the social cues.
Not
sorry, I yawned as soon as
you totally yawned mid-sentence.
She was not seeing the social cues at all. She was not getting them. It was not. I don't know if it's because she was drinking or no.
No, because she was solely sober for half of it too. Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know because she was drinking a lot on the boat. But when I was like, oh, there she's pounding beers for breakfast again. But didn't she
well
MS brain. Sorry.
We see a conversation between Laura and Aisha. Laura asked Aisha to change shifts because she didn't want to work the night shift every charter because she was tired.
No, but she wasn't really tired. This was all her made upness because
she had manipulation.
She wanted to manipulate it so she could be on night shift with Adam again because she wanted another. Oh, this is what I was gonna say was that like it's not just like the social cues and stuff. Like, I mean, he's telling her no, and she's like, he's such a hard one to read. No, girl, no, he's not. He's telling you no repeatedly over and over that he just wants to be friends and. Oh, your friends you don't kiss your friends? No, I don't. He can't be more clear.
Yeah.
Repeatedly over and over and over. Right. You know, she's just intentionally ignoring him because she doesn't believe that she could be that he couldn't want all that.
Yeah. both her and Luke displayed predatory behavior that was disgusting. Well, when Aisha tells her no, she can't switch, and Laura asks her why, Aisha says it was because Margot doesn't have the experience to be able to work by herself doing service late at night. And Laura basically looked at her and was like, well, why don't you do it? And she's like, I have to be there for all of the meals. I'm the chief stew.
Yeah. Like, no.
What kind of question is, like, are you stupid? That's what I was like, are you dumb? Like, I don't have to be a yachty. I don't have to be a stewardess to know. Granted, I was a GM of a restaurant, but to me, it's common sense.
Like, it was just like, oh my God. I mean, so first, so she was trying to, like, you know, manipulate her way back to Adam, although just because Luke
to Adam.
Because she tried him at first and he said no, and then she went over to Luke, made out with Luke, and then the next day she went back to Adam because Luke told her that she overheard Luke telling her no. And then so she went back to Adam, and then Adam's telling her no. But she doesn't care. But then she goes back to Luke, kind of. She was giving me whiplash, but
yeah, well, and the thing is, too, like, I'm all about women's sexuality. Do whatever we want. Do what makes you happy. Right. That doesn't hurt others. But
that doesn't hurt others.
That doesn't mean be a desperate woman. Like, she was throwing out desperate vibes to the point where I'm like, just please, like, you're making a fool of yourself. I hope she looks back at this and is like, wow.
Sees how just like, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, because like he was just continuously no. I don't want to kiss you. He's saying these words, not just no, but no, I don't want to kiss you. I don't want to kiss you, you know. Yeah. I don't care. However you say it in a joking manner. Or you're like, no, I don't want to kiss you. Either way, you're saying no, I don't want to kiss you.
Yep. The key word is no, right?
You said no. You know.
Not a maybe, not a not now. No.
And she just kept physically throwing herself at him and, like, you know, touching him and rubbing herself up against him and doing all these things, which, you know, he kept trying to back away from and step away from. And then, you know, they all got out of the hot tub or whatever. But
well, we see Culver and Zarina flirting in the galley, and I'm hoping that something will come of that. But what we see later on, we'll get into that later.
We see later on there is.
Yeah. So I was like, they're just so damn cute together. So hopefully something comes from that. They then have a tip meeting, and the guests leave a huge tip, $25,000. Where the primary said he had more and he wanted to arm wrestle Captain Jason for it. Could you tell if he actually gave him the extra money anyway? I think he did.
I couldn't tell, but he was a real dick if he didn't.
Yeah, I rewound it and he was like, here you go, you earned it or something. So I'm assuming he gave him the second envelope as well, because there was $25,000 total. So
that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, we just pulled it. And I mean, I feel like at first I was like kind of weirded out. It was like, why are you going to withhold some and be like, oh, you have to earn this too? Because it reminded me at first. Well, yeah, I got it. I understood. I realized I was misreading it. But like at first it reminded me of those douchebags that one time will be like, well, I was going to give you this whole thing, but I'm going to hold this back.
That's penny what stock reminded guy. Me of at first. The penny stock guy, the penny stock traders that didn't have Wi-Fi on the boat.
The worst.
Yes.
And so
I'm taking 5,000 back because you didn't have Wi-Fi or whatever bullshit.
Right, your Wi-Fi in the middle of the Caribbean isn't super strong.
My girlfriend wanted cheese quesadillas, not this filet mignon. What are you thinking?
The gastro pub, whatever, whatever. Anyway, that's what I was thinking of at first when that happened. But then I realized, like, oh no, they're all joking about it. It must be an ongoing joke, whatever. And then it was fine, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first, that's what I first thought. I was like, oh no. Oh, okay. Stand down, Katrina, stand down. Temper your outrage.
Captain gave Adam the helmet for having sea legs, I guess, and just like being
because he kept, like, the whole time during the storm, he kept getting seasick and he couldn't work. You're like, what kind of seaman are you?
Yep. So Laura, oh God. where they're getting in the cab, they're going to dinner, and I guess I don't remember who said it. Maybe Zarina was like, "Oh, thank God I have underwear on" or something. And Laura says, "Well, I'm not wearing panties," and grabs Adam's leg, and I was like, cringe, cringe, cringe.
And he's like, "Oh, I moved cars."
Yeah.
Oh, and yes, it is creepy and uncomfortable watching it. Like, I mean, yeah, it is creepy and uncomfortable.
So at dinner, Adam and Zarina step away to have a cigarette, and Adam tells Zarina he's not into Laura, and that Laura is not taking the rejection well and is coming off desperate and clingy. And that's when Zarina was like, "Well, you just need to be like very straightforward with her." And he's like, I have been. She's like, "No, you need to be even more straightforward with her." Right. I guess, but we see that doesn't work.
Right.
In fact, she almost sees it like a challenge. I feel like she ups her ante when he starts saying no even more.
Yeah, with her, it didn't matter. It was like, yeah, it was just served as a challenge.
Yeah. All right. So then Harry's sitting next to Margot at dinner, and he's being his typical sweet self. And Margot's like, "I don't like it when a guy's all over me, but I also don't like the asshole type guy. But I guess I do like the asshole type guy because he's annoying me." So, okay. All right.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, come on, Margot. Don't be this way."
And this is when she kind of dodges Harry.
Yeah, she dodges Harry in lieu of Luke. But then she makes it very obvious. And she was like, "I'm drunk. I'm going to bed." And okay, you know what? Let's take a break, because this is where and like we'll come back and we'll talk about this, because this is where the icky stuff starts. So let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey, you guys, you know that I love my Nutrafol. I've been taking it for a long time, and I'm going to continue to take it for a long time because I, like millions of Americans, experience thinning hair. It's more than common, it's normal, but it's not openly talked about, especially among women. Going through it can be lonely and frustrating, and it's time to change that conversation and join the thousands of women like me who are standing up for their strands with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting the 5 root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, and metabolism through a whole body health. Nutrafol has 3 unique formulas to support women throughout all stages of life, including postpartum and menopause. Each formula is physician formulated using natural, drug-free, medical-grade ingredients in consistently effective dosages so you get the most reliable results. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. Over 3,000 top doctors and stylists recommend Nutrafol as an effective and high-quality solution for healthier hair. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering the promo code FRAUD to save $10 off your first month subscription. This offer is only available to U.S. customers for a limited time. Plus, you get free shipping on every order. Get $10 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, with the promo code FRAUD. Oh my God, you guys, I want to tell you about this underwear that I'm obsessed with. It is the Fits Everybody collection by SKIMS. And it feels like no other underwear I've ever worn before. It's stretchy and soft, and it kind of just melts onto your body and you forget you're wearing it. SKIMS is creating the next generation of underwear for everybody. And I do mean everybody. My girls are a 34 double D. I've breastfed. I've had a reduction. I've gained weight. I've lost weight. I've been through it all. And this is my new favorite bra that I wear all the time. It is the Fits Everybody t-shirt bra. And I'm telling you, it's a miracle. A t-shirt bra I can actually wear. I love it. It's my favorite. I'm also a super fan of the Fits Everybody Racerback bra. It's my new go-to bra when working from home. The Fits Everybody collection of underwear is super lightweight and molds to your body. It's a buttery soft fabric that stretches twice its size without ever losing its shape, meaning that you get the perfect fit every time. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. You will get the perfect fit every time with these. And they're available in sizes double extra small up to a 4X.
You guys, believe the hype. The collection has nearly 90,000 five-star reviews for a reason. The Fits Everybody collection and more perfect fit essentials are available now at skims.com. Plus, you get free shipping on orders over $75. After you place your order, be sure to let them know that we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select the Fraudcast from the drop-down menu that follows. Hey, Fraudcasters. Now that we're in the thick of summer, you, like me, might be looking for some wholesome, convenient meals to support your sunny, active days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with flavorful and nutritious ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You're going to save time, eat well, and stay on track of reaching your goals. Are you too busy with your summer plans to cook, or it's too hot, or you're running around and you want to make sure you're eating well but don't just want to eat your kids like leftover chicken nuggets? With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store. The chopping, the prepping, the cleaning up too, all of that. Skip all of that while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat them up and enjoy, and then get back outside and soak up that warm weather. Are you looking for delicious, calorie-conscious options this summer? Try delicious dietitian-approved calorie-smart meals with around 550 calories or less per serving. This personally is the plan that I'm currently using, and I love it. They're extra flavorful, they're really good, and I know I'm getting good, healthy, quality food, and then I can get back to work. I work from home, and it's just me right now. So these are the perfect meal for me for lunch or for dinner. If it's just me for dinner and I don't have the kids and I don't have the husband and all of that, these are so perfect. I don't have to cook. I don't have to worry about cleaning. I don't have to shop. I have my healthy, calorie-conscious meals ready to go right in front of me. So this July, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/fraudcast50 and use code fraudcast50 to get 50% off. That's code fraudcast50 at factormeals.com/fraudcast50 to get 50% off. Hey, Fraudcasters. Life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should your payday? The money you earn today can be in your hands today with EarnIn. EarnIn is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the EarnIn app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work. Any money that you access is automatically repaid from your next paycheck. Make EarnIn a part of your financial routine and join EarnIn's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about EarnIn, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. I tell you what, you guys, just knowing that this app exists out there gives me a lot of peace of mind and security. Download EarnIn today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the EarnIn app, type in Fraudcast under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. That's Fraudcast under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, daily max, pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. EarnIn is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
And we are back.
Guess who just literally, on our break, I checked my Instagram because I had messaged Captain Jason while I was watching the episode.
Oh, because you guys are like besties now.
Yeah, and I said,
throwing a drink is easy. But you know what's even easier? Getting a drink delivered with Drizzly, your go-to app for alcohol delivery. With Drizzly, you can shop local stores and compare prices on your favorite drinks or their least favorite drinks. Drama. Then get them delivered to your door. No drama. No table flipping, no accusation-filled reunions. Just a tailored shopping experience for whatever occasion you're shopping for. From birthdays to weddings to have a piece of bread, maybe you'll calm down a little parties. So save time shopping and get back to sipping the fanciest champagne while watching accusation-filled reunions. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today.
like I want to talk about coming on the episode because thank you. Let's find a time.
Oh yeah.
So, anyways, guys,
hopefully that'll work out.
We're gonna try.
But yeah, okay. So
here we go.
Okay, here we go, guys. So trigger warning: if you don't want to hear this, come back after the next break.
Yes. So everyone is leaving to go back to the boat, and Margot is completely hammered. She has her face, like she's laying in Luke's lap, so drunk that Aisha and everyone realize, hey, we got to make sure she gets back to the boat. Aisha even says, I'm going to make sure that she gets to bed safely because she is extremely intoxicated.
Right.
And we've all been there, I'm sure. A lot of people listening have been there.
I loved Aisha in this I loved her for a lot of reasons this episode, but this is where it started because her watching out for her at this point before Luke showed his true colors even more. Like Aisha was already being protective and watching out for her. And I just I loved that. I loved women watching out for women. So
I do too. And everyone needs a friend like her. And she's setting a great example for women. We talk about women's empowerment. This is exactly like women standing up for each other and just helping each other out. It just warmed my heart.
Recognizing that in that moment, that's what Margot needed, was a girlfriend to keep her away from the predator.
Yes. So Luke says he's bringing Margot to bed, and Aisha's like, I'm going to get her safely in bed. So he was kind of like, I got her. And Aisha's like, no. We see Culver kissing Zarina briefly on the lips.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Which was consensual.
Consensual within their both prescribed consensual boundaries.
Yes. So the power on the boat goes out, and Luke is kind of drunkenly wandering around, and he follows Laura into her room. Now, Luke crawls into bed with Margot. So he's following Laura first. Then he kind of leaves Laura's room, tries to crawl into bed with Margot. And
also have it be noted, when Aisha put Margot to bed and they were having their conversation, she was like, I want to make sure you're put to bed. And she's like, yeah, no, I don't want Luke. No, Luke. She had a vibe.
She had a vibe. She said he was drunk and just had a bad feeling.
She articulated this in front of Aisha to further clarify that we'll get to that.
Yes. So at the time, we didn't see Luke actually being naked until he comes out. So maybe he walked in with a towel. And
I think he had the towel because they show him getting out of the hot tub, and he'd been wearing his underwear, his boxer briefs, but they were white. And so I don't know, maybe production, somebody gave him a towel. And so he had this towel around his waist, but he was so drunk it wasn't staying on. So he had that kind of falling off his waist as he went into the Margot's room and closed the door. You can see the towel falling.
Right. And now Margot's on the top bunk too. So in order for him to climb up, he'd have to hold on to the towel, which
he loses the towel at some point right around in there.
Yeah. So at this point, the lights are still out. Production's banging on the door. Hey, man, come on. Oh, no, actually, before the door even closed, they're like, hey, come on,
they went in.
Right.
They went in after him when he went in there half naked where Margot was passed out.
Yep. And production
immediately grabs him and starts trying to pull him out.
Yeah. And he's telling them no, oh no.
He was fighting with them and managed to get the door closed, I think is what the sequence was.
So the lights came on in the middle of all of this. The light on the boat came back on, and that's when you see him looking really kind of confused and also just get out. And as soon as the lights came on, that's when he jumped up and started to close the door. And production's banging on the door, trying to get him out. That was really creepy. You're gonna close the door on production, right?
It was hard to watch it, but it was you see this happening, and you're like, oh god, because we've seen the same shit play out on so many different reality shows, and you hear about it after the fact in these lawsuits, like this most recent one with the Love is Blind people saying they were plied with alcohol and all these other things to do the certain things, right?
Right.
And so you see this scenario and you're like, what's going to happen? How's it going to play out? And I honestly was not expecting it to play out the way that it did. And at this point, I reserve my right to change my mind on this as I process it more. But at this point, I'll say it was handled. I was okay with the way it was handled. Like, I liked the way that production stepped in. Because, you know, people always say, why doesn't production step in?
Right.
You know, well, they did here. You know, they did before he closed the door. He was going in there. She was passed out. He was half naked. Everybody recognized it was not a safe situation and went and got him and pulled him out immediately.
And some people may argue, well, they should have pulled him off or whatever. Here's the deal. He's completely wasted. It was very obvious. They were, in my opinion, like you said, I think that they were doing it in a way that was non-confrontational and nice at first, right? Like, hey, they were trying to de-escalate the situation and just get him away, right? That was their goal, just to get him away.
That may have been all it would take, because sometimes that is with drunk people. They just go, oh, okay, and don't realize what they're doing or whatever, and they go along with it, and it never has to get any worse than that.
Yeah.
But not here.
Nope. So at the same time that this is going on, or shortly thereafter, we see Laura then crawling into bed with Adam while he's trying to sleep, and him telling her no to get out. And production then goes into their room and is trying to pull her off of him. Difference is she A, listens, and B, is not naked. Slowly. I mean, she's slowly listening.
Well, she was giving him the massage that he had agreed to, quote unquote, agreed to, which, I mean, should he have agreed to it? Not if his grand, you know, like, that would not, if you're trying to tell her no, then tell her no. Don't tell her yes, right? Yeah. Like, when you're thinking about it from that point of view. But when you're looking at it from this point of view, like, does it make what she, you know, for him saying yes to the massage, does that make what she was doing right? Absolutely not. No, he was not consenting to any of that by saying, yes, you can give me a massage. He was not consenting to any of her other behavior other than that, what would be simply a massage, right? Like, you're not consenting to all of the other behavior that she had. I mean, it was really uncomfortable at that point. Like, by the time it got to the point where she crawled up in his bed after he repeatedly told her no, he had been repeatedly telling her no in the hot tub. Then everybody gets out of the hot tub. Like, you know, it's like she's following him around, trying to touch him and rubbing up against him. And he's like, no, and moving away. And and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. So right after the situation happening with Luke and that whole kerfluffle, because that's still kind of a kerfluffle, because nobody knows what's kind of going on. Wait, something's happening. The power's back on. Wait, what's going on? So everyone's kind of like, whatever. At the same time, Laura is continuing her let's go have sex talk, right? Oh, okay, you're not gonna say yes to having sex yet? Okay, well, how about a kiss? No? Okay, how about a touch? Okay, how about a massage? How about a hand job? How about that? You know, like,
pretty much.
Like, it was so uncomfortable. Absolutely uncomfortable for me. So then she gets up into the bed with her little, like, lotion. And that's what I figured out was happening, because she had this bottle of lotion. She's like squirting on his back, and I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? Is that lube? And then she got up there and she was massaging him, because there was it's not going to be sexual, I promise. Just a massage, you know, whatever. So
how many women listening were told they were just going to get a massage, and then 9.5 months later,
right? And where's the fucking massage? You still have knots in your shoulders, don't you?
Right, exactly.
Which I do, by the way. And I couldn't get to my chiropractor today because they closed early because of the weather too. So their work is twice as hard tomorrow. So.
Good. I like a challenge.
Excellent.
I'm excited.
Anyway.
Well, so at this point, Aisha's crying to Captain. She decides that it's important enough, obviously it is, to wake up Captain Jason to tell him what's going on. Right. And I'm just like, she's the best. That's what I wrote. She's the best.
Yeah, because like earlier, before even like more things had happened, but earlier she's like, I need to go tell the captain.
Mm-hmm.
And, all this other stuff was happening and she was trying to, get to it. And, but she recognized very early in this, something's happening, and you talk to him.
Yeah.
And so just like recognizing when she needs to escalate something is really awesome.
And last season, she talked more about the sexual assault that she had experienced. So she went into a little bit more detail. So this time around, she briefly mentioned it. She acknowledged that, yes, she had been a victim of sexual assault and
non-consensual sexual assault while she was passed out drunk.
Mm-hmm. So for her, she recognizes the scenario and she's going to do everything she can to protect anyone from that happening to them. So,
bless her.
So Captain is listening, and I think it was just great how he had so much compassion and empathy.
Mm-hmm. He was immediately like, okay, and didn't make her handle more than she should have, and and was like, okay, not that I don't think any captain has really done that, but but it's something, a mark of a good leader, that they know how to when what they need to take, and things like that. So it's like she came to him and then he tasks her with, okay, no, you did it, you're fine, you're good, you're done. You don't need to worry about this anymore. This is beyond your your pay grade, basically.
Yeah. So he goes marching in there and wakes his ass up, Luke's ass. And is like, get up, you're going to a hotel, get your clothes on. Again, just removing him from the situation.
Yeah,
he did not need to be there.
Immediately removed him from the situation, which is absolutely what should have happened. And Captain Jason handled it perfectly. Absolutely what should have happened. So
everybody's going to bed, and a lot of people don't know what actually went down. So it wasn't until the next morning, Margot is trying to figure out the night. She's talking to Laura. She's like, what happened? I know I came back. I remember production a little bit, I guess, getting him out of the room. She couldn't really put all the pieces together.
Right.
And nobody knew where Luke was. And so finally, Aisha explained to Margot what had happened. And that's when I know you posted the clip of the three of them, Aisha, Margot, and Zarina, sitting in the room with Aisha explaining what happened. And Zarina saying women should be able to be drunk and naked and not have anyone do anything to them.
Right.
And there is so much victim blaming when it comes to assault. She shouldn't have worn that. She shouldn't have been out late by herself. She shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't have drank too much. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on about the victim blaming. But at the end of the day, a woman should be able to do whatever the fuck she wants to do and not be sexually assaulted. Period.
Right.
Period. like
that's it. End of story. Like there's the whole, like, there's a list somewhere I saw this, 1 through 10 ways not to get raped, don't wear this, don't walk alone at night, make sure you have a weapon, make sure you have, this and that, right? And stuff, how about, ways not to be a rapist, don't rape. Don't rape women. How about that? That should be number 1 on the list. Don't rape women. Don't rape men. Don't rape. Don't be a rapist. Don't rape any human being. Don't rape men, women, non-binary, anybody on anywhere. Don't rape.
Yes.
Just don't rape. Like that's it.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. So, and this is where I started to really, really feel for Margot. And when she started calling, or not calling yet, but she was said to the cameras and everything, she said she felt disappointed in herself.
Yeah.
And that she's sad and she's trying to process it all. And she then said, quote, I was probably being too flirty. And that right there, I think a lot of people who have been in that situation can relate to that. Feeling like maybe it's my fault. Maybe I did something wrong, which we know it's not her fault. And
this is another level of why this could be very triggery, because it wasn't just the event itself. Now we're talking this aftermath where the victim's going, maybe I was being too flirty. Maybe I drank too much. I know I drank too much. I was passed out. Like I was like, she knows intellectually, and she, hopefully with, therapy and all this other stuff, will get there and not blame herself, because as Serena said, woman should be able to be as drunk as you want, passed out, naked, and not have anything happen to her.
Yep.
Like,
well, I know, it's common sense. It's like you would think.
Anyway, okay.
So this is, again, when I think this episode can't get any worse when it comes to content, which is what happens. We see Captain Jason wanting to have a meeting with the crew and tell everyone kind of an update as to what's going on. Now, obviously, it's a very kind of somber, just uncomfortable energy in the air. Everyone looks confused. Luke's not there. Captain looks very serious. And there's Laura sitting next to Adam on the couch, trying to cuddle him and touching him right in front of everyone.
Him.
Yes.
Roping his thighs.
Yes. Yeah. It makes, it's like, what planet are you on?
Situational awareness? Anything?
Nothing.
Anything there?
Nothing.
Anything between the ears? No, nothing.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So Captain then goes on to tell everyone he's terminating Luke's employment, and that walking into somebody else's room without consent is a serious offense, that everyone should feel safe and their door is their space. And nobody should be entering it without consent, and not entering it at all naked, obviously. That shouldn't even have to be said.
Right.
But consent is the key word here. And that Luke will be on the boat to get his stuff. That's when Laura said, are we allowed to ask the question? Are we allowed to say goodbye? And Captain said, no. I'm like, is that really the question you want to ask right now? After everything you just said, you want to say goodbye?
That wasn't as bad. That was the good. That was the questions only got worse from there on out. So that was, little did we know, that was as good as it was going to get from her.
Yep. And that's when I wrote down the note, Katrina, we called this last week or the week before when he made those like insult type comments about just like fucking caveman, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even remember what they were, but
he just said some dumb shit. I mean, it made me think of like literally a caveman, like, what did they used to do? Like club women over the head and like take them? Like, just like, you're an idiot. Like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm cursing a lot today. I'm very triggered.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just like heated.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah. So again, here goes the episode getting even worse. We see Laura and Margot sitting down to have a conversation. And Laura says to Margot, I'm so sad Luke is gone. Margot said, I'm not. And Laura was like, this is stupid. He should have gotten a warning. And then she starts going on about why he shouldn't have been fired.
And was he hard and all this? Because this was the first of the conversations, right? Like where she's like asking if he was hard and if he'd come into my bed.
So Margot then explains to her what happened. And Laura says she should have kept him happy. And if he came into her cabin, it would have been different. AKA, she would have kept him happy, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. And we all feel bad, but he feels the worst right now, huh? Like, he feels the worst?
Was unreal. Like, I almost want to look at a transcript of it just to see how bad it is, because it was just watching, I was horrified. Like, just at the words that were coming out of her mouth. Like, each word, each sentence was worse and worse than the one before it.
Right. And now what people don't realize is, so this episode airs Monday nights, and we record actually on Monday nights right after the episode airs. So typically there's not a lot of content to have to really sit and analyze and ponder.
Right. It's below deck. It's not like it's really deep intellect here that we have to like analyze on a deep level.
We don't have to do any research necessarily for these episodes, but this episode was a lot. So I tried rewinding it and I tried to get what I could out of it. But I think I might have to watch it again at least one more time to really fully take in everything that was said. Because I couldn't catch every single thing. And I was just so shocked at what she was saying. Maybe a part of me didn't even want to take notes on it because it was just so triggering. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, I just like, it's like I put my phone down and I just like sat up and I was just like watching it as like this unfolded, because you have you know, like, yeah, I couldn't pay attention to anything else because I'm watching this unfold. And so you've got this first conversation with Laura where it did look like she was like kind of cleaning, but like kind of like she approached Margot specifically to talk about this issue. And she never once asked how she was or anything like that. It was, what about Luke? What about Luke? Oh, he's got to be feeling terrible. I mean, I'm sorry about you, but Luke.
Yeah.
And then me. Oh God. And then there was another conversation in the laundry room where Laura basically Laura's in the laundry room, calls Margot down, like specifically come in here, and like,
oh yeah,
goes into her even more. Laura goes into Margot about how unfair it was that Luke didn't get a warning and this shouldn't be a fireable offense. And he was just, and then this was the other one was the fireable offense stuff. This was the victim blaming, right?
Yeah. Well, so what happened next is Laura can't get it through her head that it's that serious. How she's not understanding it is beyond me, because she kept thinking like, it was that serious. And now Laura is now telling Margot she doesn't think it's fair. She said he was probably joking and that he was a very sexual person. Then Laura tells Margot, well, you didn't say no all night, so he probably felt comfortable going in there. That just when you think she can't say anything worse.
It was, he obviously felt comfortable going in there.
Right.
And this is like every fat old white prosecutor, you know, trying to victim blame to get their poor little Stanford swimmer out of his, you know, poor little bad, you know, poor mistake or whatever. Like,
right.
I just, no. But then it gets worse. So. She gets even worse. Like, he's just sexual and he didn't mean it and it didn't mean it that way. And he wouldn't have raped you anyway. Like,
yeah, like how would you know? Right?
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Like, yeah. How these words that are coming out of your mouth, and she keeps getting incensed. That's what's so funny too, is how, and not funny, haha. It's like Laura is so like Margot is just standing there dumbfounded, as anybody, as I was. Like, I'm like, my face is hanging open watching this, but Laura keeps getting worked up, and she's all incensed. And the more she talks about it, and oh my God, he wouldn't have raped you anyway. And and what about me? And I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. And like suddenly making it about her somehow. Somehow Luke being a sexual predator is about Laura, and it's all Margot's fault.
It was very, very uncomfortable.
It was.
And it reminds me of like every woman that defends a piece of shit man that's like, oh, well, or like people, okay, you know, when like men cheat on their wives, and then there are women that'll be like, well, you should have pleasured him more.
If you should have cooked for him more. He wouldn't have been strained.
Right. You should have done this. You should have done that. Like, no, how about we just
don't
not blame the victim, like not blame the woman? I don't know. I'm not comparing men cheating to rape.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, a consensual sexual relationship. She's not. We're not comparing it.
No, I'm just saying, like, women who defend just pieces of shit. I just don't understand. I don't get it.
And surprisingly, it wasn't the initial attack, the initial assault that was what triggered me in this case, in this show.
The aftermath. I agree.
It was the aftermath. It was first the conversation with the three of them when Zarina was like, women should be able to be naked and passed out and not have anything happen to her. That was very it's a very sobering comment. And if you disagree with any aspect of that statement, you really need to examine why you might disagree with it. Male, female, you know, oh, we've all been there. Oh, I shouldn't have drank so much. You know, I was kissing him earlier. No, like we're conditioned to think that. I spent my entire college education thinking that.
Yeah.
And putting myself in very consent curious situations,
Mhm.
you know, because of that same sort of belief. So that was triggering, and then Laura's comments were even more so. That even
Right.
got me worse because it reminded me of the reason why don't women report this? Well, why? Why would?
Exactly.
Because you have this when you if somebody who has the ability to see the behavior exactly what happened on camera and still doesn't think there's anything wrong with it, not saying the behavior didn't happen, but saying that there's nothing wrong with it, then excusing the behavior out of hand, that's just unacceptable. And that's what happens in court. This is what happens when you're not in court. Like, there's no way when evidentiary standards are what they are and you get lawyers and all the things involved and all the stuff involved, it's even less so like to be believed when you're in this scenario. Like, no, like,
well, I'm wondering, and I'm hoping, I should say, that when Laura watches this episode back, if she chooses to, that she will maybe either come out with an apology or just reflect on her behavior and the things that she said. And I'm hoping she can learn from this, because this was she's a shit person. I'm just going to say it. She's a
yeah. So
really
this happened. So this is the laundry room conversations, or this is the ultimate, like the final resting piece, the straw that broke the camel's back, as it were, right?
Well, you didn't tell him no all night, so he probably felt comfortable going in there.
And yeah, and no, just no. That's just in case it's not clear. That's not okay.
It's not okay to go into somebody's room naked and try to crawl in bed with them without their consent while they're passed out.
If you think there's any part of that situation that's okay, then there's problems, because there is no part of that scenario in any way, shape, or form that was okay.
Right.
Nothing about it was okay.
I see a lot of people online in different forums commenting on different situations, whether they be court cases, whatever going on. Oh, well, alcohol's to blame, this and that. Like, okay, you don't have to agree that alcohol's okay to drink. You don't, you can do all that. You can say, okay, well, alcohol, it doesn't matter.
You shouldn't have been drinking.
Right. Okay. So you don't agree with drinking alcohol. Great. Fine.
Don't drink it then.
Doesn't matter. Don't touch people. Don't crawl into bed with them naked. It's
right.
Not I wish people would preach like as passionately about, I don't know, sexual assault as much as they do about dressing like a quote whore and drinking too much alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that amazing how people can?
We teach our daughters don't dress that way and don't drink alcohol, but we don't teach our kids. No, I mean our sons not to rape people. No, I'm not saying I'm not saying people are or not. No,
right.
I'm just no.
We're just very triggered and we're trying to process this episode.
Yes, exactly.
We're
having a group processing session here. But there was a lot in that episode, multiple layers of triggery. So then what happens after this is Aisha goes and talks to Captain about it. Mm-hmm. Captain's like, okay, calls Margot up and was like, hey, is this what happened? And not as gruff as that. I mean, it was much more compassionate than that. And she's like, yeah. And it made me feel this way.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, done. I'm taking care of it. And then Aisha had also told Captain about Laura's inappropriate behavior with Adam and how Aisha had had a conversation with Adam that he was not comfortable with it and had expressed his boundaries. Not that everyone didn't hear him also, but just for, he had expressed his boundaries and everybody has heard his boundaries, and she wasn't following those and he wasn't comfortable with it. So Aisha had told Jason that as well, right? So Jason calls him up. He tells him, yeah, he confirms what Aisha said. He's like, okay, done. So he calls Laura up, done, boom, you're fired. Like basically like you that's it. Zero. Like you don't even get a chance.
So Captain Jason, he tells Laura that Adam feels uncomfortable with how she's acting around him and that he is upset because she has no empathy and was talking and acting. Well, what else? Yeah. Basically, she has no empathy.
Right.
Yeah.
So he inappropriate boundaries, was not following boundaries with Adam, being inappropriate in that regard, complete lack of empathy towards Margot and the other people on the boat about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not something that he can have. And he had just said, have some fucking empathy.
Right.
He wasn't doing it. So she also disrespected his boundaries. So he was
Mhm.
like, all of this, no, all done. None of this.
Yeah. And just like that, we're back into another team meeting with Jason, Captain Jason reiterating boundaries again for the second time now, or the millionth time, really. But yeah, so we then see Aisha checking in on Margot and seeing how she's doing, and just the amount of love and compassion and like just positive energy that like pours out of Aisha is just so refreshing to see. You know,
I do have to, I have to say this because it made me feel a little bit icky, was Aisha did it, and I mean she did it like once, and I think Harry did it, although a little less so maybe. There was just a bit of, well, when Laura talked to you and was acting this way, she made Margot feel terrible. And it's like, Margot's standing right there. What?
like saying things in front of the.
Yeah, they're like, well, she made Margot feel terrible. And, well, like, Margot's hearing you say this, like, that's like a re-victimization in a different way for me, because it's like, you're just telling me that I like that here I'm already feeling bad because I got one person fired, and now you're telling me that my behavior is what caused somebody else to be fired. Like, I don't know, but maybe that's just my own personal like feeling like I'm always in the wrong. So if somebody were to say that about me, I would be like, oh God, what did I do now? Like, great, I shouldn't have felt this way because about what Laura was saying, because now I'm responsible for that too. But it was minor in comparison, and I don't think there was any ill will when anybody mentioned it at all. It was all like, look, she was, I mean, they were all doing their intent, I think, was all very, very good. They're like, look, like Laura's like being a bitch. They should have said Laura's being a bitch rather than Laura's making Margot feel bad.
And
like,
we forgot to mention that when Captain was firing her and he asked her, like, what did you say to Margot? Laura was like, oh, I told her I was worried about her and asked her how she was doing. Bitch, no, you didn't. You didn't ask her. I don't remember you asking those questions.
No.
How's Luke?
He says like, yeah, what did you say? She's like, oh yeah, well, I just said, how are you? How are you feeling? And are you feeling okay? And no, I didn't say it,
Which makes me realize she knows what she should have done.
Yes.
She knows. So she's not like completely.
And then it's like she forgets that it's all filmed.
Right. Which I'm going to go back to. I'm going to say it again. I think she was drinking. I do. If she's popping beers in the morning.
We saw her pounding those beers. Yeah. And now it's becoming more clear. Now we see in the previews for the rest of the season, apparently Margot's having an issue with it too, or at least she had one day where she's having an issue. It looked to me like maybe she had one day. I don't know.
Well, last season, Culver had a day where he drank so Captain told Culver, because he was chief entertainment officer.
Right.
Whatever. He told them they could have one drink, and he had like 3 or maybe 3 that we saw. So I'm wondering, I don't think Captain's going to fire her, but we'll see. But yeah, so we see next time, rather than next time, we see like, one of those.
The rest of the season.
The rest of the season.
This is the mid-season trailer or whatever.
Yeah, we see like some porn stars on deck having fun. We see Culver dancing in his costumes. And it looks like Harry's going to get his heart broken because we see Margot making out with Joao, who was on last season, who's kind of a douche. They replaced one douche with another douche. He was
originally on the original. I remember him from the original.
Oh, he was on the original. Okay, I can't even remember.
Well, he might have been. I think he was on Med too.
Everything is a blur.
He was on both the original and Med, I believe.
Oh, that makes sense because he was with Aisha on Med then.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So it looks like they're making out. So, and then we see Culver potentially hooking up with a new Stu.
Yeah.
A lot of drama.
And then you see, oh yeah, but he belongs to her, and pointing to Sheffy. And so yeah, like there's problems, and Margot, I mean, I'm not gonna like pound, like pile on her or anything, but she did say that she, kind of gets attracted to the assholes, right? And her behavior when she was like, oh, I'm gonna go, she's like, he's annoying me, so I'm gonna go with him, like that's foreshadowing, I think, what's to come later, with her behavior.
Poor Harry's little heart is gonna be broken.
Poor Harry's is gonna have his heart broken. Yeah. Poor guys.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just still processing. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna sleep tonight. Very well.
I don't have to work tomorrow because I'm on leave, because I'm going to Annapolis to get acupuncture with Dr. Lexi. Can you believe this? No, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you guys, there's a lot. It's heavy. So we should just end it with this. Yeah. And thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And we will be back next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.